Hey everyone, Official Guy Reviews back with you here one more time. I wanted to take a little look today at a couple things. If you're here, you know why you're here. I want to take a look at a couple cups that we've been using for our little one. They're the top of all the different groups and everything that everybody talks about when you're looking at your cups for your baby. So the two we're looking at today, both of them are coming from the Munchkin brand. Obviously, our little one has been moving to the point where she needs to, we've been practicing with cups for a little while, so we've had some time to kind of hone what ones we prefer. Munchkin rises to the top a lot of the times. It's obviously a name you're going to be super familiar with if you are, if you have a little one. They've got everything from bottle systems, nipple systems, soothers, cups, you name it, they've got it. So I just wanted to go over two main cups. We've got the Miracle 360 trainer cup, which comes also more like a tumbler size as well, with no handles, and you have the handle size for your little one there. And then you've also got the Munchkin Click Lock weighted straw. So as you tilt the straw, there's a little weight in that bottom piece that will follow it, so that no matter where your little one is sipping, what angle, it's always going to line up. So I just wanted to review the two of them for you guys. We picked up both. They're super cheap. It's super affordable. Just an add-on item or whatever, often through Amazon. So you're looking anywhere between, at least Canadian, like $6-7 to $8-9. Nothing super crazy, but there is a pretty large difference between the two and what you can expect from them. So what I wanted to do is kind of give you a bit of a side-by-side. What are the pros and cons of each, if there's any tips or tricks? The Miracle system, the Miracle 360 is a really cool system. I really enjoy it. I will say for the little one, I literally took this off our kitchen table from her lunch, so you might have some food. She's got some chewed marks on the edge here, but the cool thing with this system is it is absolutely, of the two, the more spill proof. If you're going on car rides or things like that and you don't want water dumped everywhere, or juice or whatever you're putting into the cup, this would be the route you want to go. If your little one tends to do a little bit of upside down and shake it around, this is definitely the route. What I do find with this guy here, with the Miracle system, the click lock with the weight in it, you can close it, and it has kind of a little slider, and it pops up and closes down. However, I do find that for these, you will get a bit of a leak going on here and there. I mean, the upside down of it, if you dump, it's going to start coming out the hole there. And I mean, I'd love to say that it's going to pop in every single time and not leak for you, but we just haven't had that experience, to be completely honest. That being said, it is a solid cup. If I was to hand both cups to my daughter, who is at this point 14 months old, even when she first started sipping them, her preference would be this guy here with the straw. The straw just seems to be her favorite thing. She's good with it, and I think she gets more out of it. There is a little stopper. I don't know if you guys can see there, but it's kind of like right there, that little flat line. So it's kind of almost like nipple style, where you have to actually pinch to suck, and it doesn't send through an overwhelming amount of water, but I think she prefers to this because this is a little more of a tilt heavy. I do find we have to keep these ones much closer to full, otherwise she's having to lean all the way back, and because of the shape of the top here, the indent, when she's tilting it all the way back, what I find is it's hitting her little forehead here on here to tilt it enough, and it's covering her whole little face. So I do find I find her preference would definitely be this one over this, but as a parent, my preference is this one whenever we're needing to not spill, because these guys here, even if it was full of water, does this have some in it? Even if it was full of water here, I'll put a little bit of water in this so you can see. Even when it's full of water, it does not spill, which is fantastic. It can spill, obviously everything can spill, it's possible, but I will say that this one does infinitely better between the two. So if we pop the lid on, so it's just, pretty typical lid style, we just give that a seal there. So there you go. There's literally, I can even give it some shaking. No issue, no drops, no nothing coming out there. So it's very, very solid. That being said, this again, if I go upside down, we're just dripping right away out of it, right? So you can seal this one on the inside. There's a little piece. So if I undo this, there's that click lock system. So you can help with a little seal there. But I just find it doesn't end up going as well as you plan. There is these little clicks here on the edges, so you hear that click every single time. So the little wings on the edges of the cup, they click into the top there. You see these little pieces right here. They click in, and then you're locked in. I haven't had any issues with my daughter opening this or any of that. Obviously, this is very difficult for her to get open. That being said, it has held up fairly well. And again, she prefers it for the amount that she gets out of it. I do find that once she gets into this one here, she does get a cough going here and there because she takes too much. So if you're not familiar with the system of this cup, like how this is from the previous water, obviously now look, there's nothing coming out. If you take it apart, it's such an ingenious system. So when you want to put it, it's dishwasher safe in the top, I believe, these guys here. Yeah. Perfect. Yep. So you'd be fine. I mean, we've done it in the top. It's always been fine that way. So in the top, you basically unscrew, and this one's harder to open than the click lock system. So you unscrew, okay, and then you have just a regular cup, right? So set that aside. It's got a good thickness to it, good weight to it as well. So in the top, you kind of have to put your fingernail in the rubber edge. See how that kind of pops open? So you've got kind of this rubber edge here. So you get your fingernail under that. It's deceptive because you could pull this, but it's so hard to get it out that way. And no actual water comes out of this middle ring, none at all. That's just kind of there. So if you put your finger in the edge, peel back and just yank it. So let me really, you got to give it, you got that little pop. So you see this little hole here, right? And then all the corresponding kind of stippling in the actual lid itself. There's like little stippled holes all the way around. So what you want to do is you take these guys apart and then put them all separate in the dishwasher with your lid here, right? Or your cup here. And that's what I found to be the best way to wash it. Gets everything kind of out of the stipples. The nice thing is not much gets in here with the little ones. I'm just going to get a better view. Not much gets in here because it's protected by this little guy here, right? So this does a really, really solid job of it. And you can wash this all separately if you want. This is hard plastic. This is like a rubber, so it's nice and malleable. And it's held up. We've had these for a couple months now, and they've held up fantastically. Like I said, outside of a few little nibble marks around the edges, it's held up super well. The cup itself would never break. It's so thick. Like even if I squeeze it, it's not actually doing much of anything. So really, really solid construction on these guys. So what's actually happening, for those of you that are curious that don't have the unit yet, is this snaps in. So the little hole in this snaps into this little kind of middle piece. And you hear that pop. Now we're in. So what's actually happening is when your little one bites, it's going to pop that edge up. So they kind of sip at the edge, which is where you get the little nibble marks. And then that's opening enough so that these little stipples are obviously always have water coming out. But this seals so perfectly that nothing comes out when you shake it. It's so handy. The only time I see water shoot out of this thing here is if she was to drop it off of her high chair or whatever. And when it hits the floor, then it can like get some water out. But outside that, unless it hits something, it's great. Like the seal is amazing. It's so good. As for the click lock with the weight, I really do like the weight because it gives you that shift around. No matter which way your baby's going, which way they're leaning it, it's always going to follow along. So you can get right to the bottom. You don't always have to have this thing filled right to the top, which I absolutely love. Also, I find that pinch system in the actual straw itself does a really, really solid job when it comes to the amount of fluid the little one's getting. Because the problem is, what I find with this is when they're dumping, they have to tilt to drink, and all of these stipples are just pouring out, right? So if they bite here, they're opening up this whole section, and all of this is just dumping. So she often has trouble with the amount that comes through, and she's 14 months at this point. She's been drinking out of it for a while, and it's still like an ongoing issue, whereas this one you won't have that. I will say this one is definitely thinner plastic. This exterior, I feel like, I don't know, we obviously haven't experienced any issues with it, but I feel like if this was dropped, it could crack. I don't know. I mean, I can definitely flex this plastic more than the other. This is a super thick cup, like really, really thick. This one is not. Handles are nice though. we're well constructed. The handles and everything are not going to break. This cap does pop off. This is the little slider cap to lock the straw down. It does pop off for washing and whatnot, so if you did want to wash, you can. There is the little breather hole right there, which is where sometimes you get some leakage. For sure, you'll notice mine's to the side inside, but I find that it ends up happening regardless, and then it ends up spilling a bit. And then in below, it folds down in. So there's an actual cutout for the straw here, and that's what folds down when you put this top piece on top. So nice and easy, super clean, great system. I mean, for the price, you might as well get both, to be honest, but at the end of the day, my preference would probably be the Miracle 360, just because as a parent, the last thing you want to be doing is cleaning up more, especially if you're not just like water only and you're giving juice and that kind of stuff. The fact that this isn't going to get sticky juice all over the place is just so much more tempting, to be honest. But outside that, I hope that helps out a little bit for you guys. I'm going to try and do a couple more. I mean, obviously, we've experienced a bunch of different bottle systems and whatnot with our little one growing up. We did settle on the Munchkin latch system, so I'll do a review of that so you can kind of see. It's a topic of hot concern because they're known for breaking down pretty easily. The way that the nipple system to the air release system, that's always leaking, and I got a couple tips and tricks for you on that. The last little tip and trick on this one here is, please, for the love of God, ensure that you catch these threads proper. If you don't, you're going to regret it. Like, this is one of those ones, if it goes on an angle, it's like so hard to unscrew once that happens, because you can't grip very well up here while you're trying to unscrew. And it gets harsher with the threads if you misthread it. And it's one of those ones that if it's misthreaded by like one, it will literally pour out of the side of the cup. It's absolutely brutal. So you just want to make sure you get that nice click in there. There's been a couple times where that's happened. You're just not thinking, you screw it on, and it's kind of cockeyed on that there. And then you just got the water pouring out all over, and it's very difficult to unscrew, especially if it gets a little wet or whatnot. So I hope that helps out a little bit. The 360, Miracle 360 versus the Munchkin latch weighted straw side by side. I feel like they have their own applications. If she's sitting at her dinner eating and I'm sitting there with her, this is definitely the route we'll try to go, because she just prefers it. There's less kind of coughing and sputtering because it gives her a more balanced amount of fluid. But if we're in the car or something and I want to just let her have a cup, this is the way to go, no question. And the big tumbler is just kind of funny. She's got a little side grip here. This is rubberized on this portion here. No handles on this, but she holds up to it fairly well. And I think because it's taller, she gets a better tilt. It's a little bit easier to keep it filled up, again, because if this gets too low water wise, you have to tilt it so far in order for her to be able to get enough out of it and actually get anything. Because if it gets too low, I'm finding she's really going to tilt, and with her little face, it's hitting kind of her upper forehead as she leans back, and it looks like a little bit of a struggle. So I hope that helps out. Thanks again for stopping by, guys. I appreciate it. I'm going to be doing up some more baby stuff in the future. Take care and have a great day.